What's going on, boys and girls? Welcome back to another solo leveling Arise video. Alright guys, before we go anywhere with the actual content that I'm going to talk about, I just want to say a big shout out to my top 100 to 2,000 to 4,635 supporters. Thank you again, guys, for always supporting. Remember, codes are going to be coming. We have brand new codes on the way as well, too, just so you guys are aware. I just submitted the video here for Season 3, Mission 3, and I'm about to do Season 4, Mission 4 as well, too. So brand new codes will be on the way. I've got a couple of mana-imbued fabrics and rune fragments that I have remaining here that I'll be sending out for any new subscribers, so stay tuned. Those should be on the way. The 1,000 Essence Stones, I'm almost out. I've got 79 left, but I have contacted Netmarble for additional codes, so I'm hoping that we get a couple more down the line so I can provide more to all those people who are just joining. If I can't, I apologize. Next season will be available, but I'll do my best to make sure you guys get what you need to get some more loot from this crazy program. Now, let's talk about the topic at hand. Now, I put out a couple videos last few days regarding guild content, right? And it's coming as a shocker to a lot of people that JINWOO now has become a support unit for a lot of the content that's coming out, especially for raid content such as POD, such as guild systems. Now, I want to talk a little bit about this because I think this is an important topic. Now, many of you guys are brand new gacha players, and it's funny, I talked about this in the last video, how that in every gacha game, the main hero for the most part is considered like the MC. The main character is considered a weak character. Most of the time, the reasoning behind that in a gacha world is they want you to spend your hard-earned money to get yourself characters that are more powerful because they give you guys the unit for free. Now, in our case, it kind of sucks, right? Now, I'm not saying that JINWOO's horrible in this game, but he definitely does not feel like the JINWOO we know and love in the manhwa or the anime. Okay, so and this has been brought up to Netmarble. Now, Netmarble has already made a post about this in one of the other forums. This is one of the Korean live streams, I believe, if I recall, where the Korean player base has said, why have you guys made the main character weaker than the hunters when he's clearly the strongest entity at the moment in the solo leveling Arise universe? All right, and if I remember the response correctly, the response was, we plan to make him stronger, but right now in the storyline where he's at, he hasn't reached his full potential, which technically, if you really think about it, because they're basing it off of the story, they're kind of right in a sense that he hasn't really hit his stride. But that's not an excuse to make him weaker than majority of the hunters, right? Now, what we're referring to is, if you go back and look at the last video I made about the guilds, he is now becoming a support system for his squad, right? Instead of being the main star, he is now taken a step back and has become a support level tier character, which for a lot of people, rightfully so, is upsetting. So it's gotten to the point where like people are now questioning Netmarble's, I guess, goals in this. Are they looking to make this a full-on, like, hunters are better than JINWOO at all times, or are we going to see a pretty big increase? Now, here's the thing, and I want Netmarble to understand this, of course, and they do, because they've been doing gachas forever. Like, I'm not one to tell them to do their job, but they need to understand something. I would have agreed with this normally about the whole, like, you know, main character being weaker than most of the other characters, because that's a very gacha related thing, and that's how gachas normally function. But the difference is you're giving us a gacha system, right? You're giving us a gacha system to make JINWOO stronger. So yes, we're not pulling for him, granted, but we are pulling for things that are supposed to make him much stronger. So for example, in this case, it's weapons, right? So we're pulling for weapons. Weapons should technically boost him to the point where he's a much better, you know, damage dealer than Alicia, than Mirai, than, you know, Cha, etc. Also, not to mention, we're also paying for a lot. Well, some of us are paying for, or at least farming for, rune fragments or blessing stones and all that stuff, right? So it's weird because, like, in a sense, he plays better than the rest because he's more unique. You know, you have more weapons to choose from, you have more skills to choose from. So they've done a really good job in creating JINWOO from being different than everybody else. They just need to up the ante a little bit. Now, again, because he's not a gacha himself, he has gacha elements to him with the weapons, the rune fragments, and all that stuff. They've kind of given us a different form of leveling up with him by giving us the ability to get his jobs up, right? By allowing us to, for example, the God of Death job. I think the way they can really fix this problem, though, overall, is by making his stats much better or much higher than everybody else's. Right? I understand the whole concept of you can't make the main star beat everything for you because you'll make no money. I get that concept, but the issue also stems from the fact that you're not using him for everything. There's content in this game where he's not even available to be used. So I really do hope, guys, like Netmarble, you guys understand, like, yes, you are following the normal gacha trends. And again, for those who are new to gachas, this is the ebb and flow, guys. Like, every time an MC is out, there's another version of this MC that comes out in the future that's way stronger. So you put the original MC they give you for free to the wayside. But in our case, we can't do that. Like, we can't just put JINWOO away. There's no other versions of him coming out. There's just job increases, which is not the same as, you know, an SSR JINWOO or a legendary JINWOO being released in the future, and we get to save up and summon for him. So in that regard, I think they do need to change their tactics a little bit and consider the fact that, you know, there is no opportunity for us outside of weapons to increase and rune fragments and all that to increase them. So I know a lot of people are frustrated with no males. I'm more frustrated with the MC being weaker, personally. And again, I know this is a very common practice, but it's a shitty one. So I'm curious for you guys as players and as viewers, and somebody who, you know, or those who are looking to join the SLA world, are you guys okay with this? Do you guys see a problem with this? Like, how do you guys think improvements can happen? I personally think doubling his stats, giving him more opportunities to, you know, use, I would say better shadow system would probably be a good one. Like, for example, giving your shadows the ability to stick around the entire fight, making them like party members, would be a really awesome option, because I mean that's what he does in the manhwa and in the anime, right? We could also allow our shadows to be, you know, instead of using 3 shadows, for example, let's just play devil's advocate here. Instead of playing 3 shadows, what if you wanted to just use 1 shadow and then be able to equip that shadow with gear, equip them with weapons of your choice, and then seeing if that would, let me just here we have this, just, you know, seeing if that would help. Like, for example, let's just say I don't care about using Igris and Iron and Serb as 3 units, right? Let's just say I wanted to use Igris by himself. Okay, or let's say I want to use Tusk. Sorry, I already said forget about Igris. So I want to use Tusk. Let's say, just like in the manhwa, I want to give him the Orb of Avarice to increase his power, right? I don't get all the extra bonuses from the shadows, but I get him just by himself, overpowered as a permanent member on my team, and he would function like another hunter. I think that would be an awesome change to the game, right? And we're already seeing like additions to different stats being used. So, for example, building a full intelligence JINWOO specifically for guild raids, but then again, like, we're being charged an arm and a leg every time we want to respec. So that's another thing that's a problem too. Like, respecing for JINWOO should be for free, because technically, you know, he's the only unit here that can respec stats. So why charge that? You know, that should be a free thing to do, because that will allow us to then test additional builds like we have for guild fights, and, you know, come up with better, more fun and elaborate ways to play the game. So I think they need a revamp on the main character altogether. Seriously, I think they do. Like, I love him. Like, he's my favorite character to use in this game. Hunters I'm great about, but it's repetitive. I like JINWOO because the fact that you can change weapons on him, change skills, change blessing stones, it just brings a different dynamic to the game, which is desperately needed. So in that regard, they did a good job. But I think when it comes down to his overall power, how he functions in regards to his stats, you know, what he can and can't do without paying gold, all that I think needs to be revamped. I think the whole shadow system needs to be revamped. I think having, like I said, forgetting to use 3 shadows temporarily versus using 1 shadow with, you can equip artifacts, you can equip, you know, maybe not artifacts. Yeah, I guess you don't need artifacts, just weapons. Even weapons is enough, and giving them new skills from those weapons will be awesome. Imagine having Tusk, for example, having the Orb of Avarice just like the manhwa, and giving him those same skills that he can cast at his own leisure. Would be such a really, really cool aspect of this game. And again, it would help a lot of players enjoy the game more and would be more true to the original material. I know we're straying so far off of the material now, and it's kind of becoming a problem in my opinion. Not game breaking to the point where, like, I don't care about the game anymore, but it is starting to bother me a little bit to see, like, the guild boss, for example, where JINWOO does less damage than the lowest hunter in the game. It's crazy. It's crazy to even think that. So I think things like that need to be reconsidered and kind of revamped a little bit, just so we can you know, feel closer to the source and enjoy the game more as the main character, because again, we're not summoning for any versions of him outside of getting new job classes and weapons. And because we already have a gacha system in place for him to make him stronger, he deserves to be not just the usual typical gacha MC, he deserves to be on the same level as and above than some of the best hunters in the game. Of course, we don't get to use him for everything too, so that's another thing. All right, guys, let me know what you think. That's my take on this. It was an interesting concept for me to talk about, because a lot of people were worried about the numbers that he was putting up in guild fights, and I just thought, you know what, a lot of people don't play gachas either, so I want to give my take on it and what I think should change. But I'm curious to hear what you have to say about it as well too. Let me know in the comment section. Take care, guys.